Hello, welcome to episode 5 of the Just One End podcast. My name is Elizabeth Zimmerman, but I go by Liz. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Algebrina. I am recording from Cochranville, Pennsylvania, where I live with my husband Greg, our 2 children Eric and Tilda, and our dog Millie. Today is Monday, July 31st, 2017. I am recording on a day off again. You guys are going to think that I never work. But actually, first of all, I work for a bank. So we have, I think it's 11 holidays a year. So a lot of days off. And some pretty uncommon ones too. I'm sure I'll record on Veterans Day and Columbus Day and some of the less popular to have a day off holidays. Also, I just passed a milestone for work. Last week I hit 12 years with my company, which seems like a really long time, but it also means that I've hit the max on vacation, having worked with them that long. So I'd like to take random days off, get stuff done. And one of those things I like to get done is record a podcast episode. So that's what I'm doing today, day off. I actually took Friday off too. I had a very eventful weekend. First of all, we went camping. We go camping every year with my husband's family. There's a campground in Bethel, Pennsylvania, which is up near Lebanon. It's called Camp Swatara, and it's a really great family campground. They have a mini golf course. There's a splash pad and a swimming pool, hiking trails. It's just a lot of fun to spend the weekend. It's not like roughing it camping at all. We do tent. I mean, we have a tent that we sleep in, though we do have an air mattress. And actually we had an eventful camping weekend too, since our air mattress apparently popped the first night. We woke up pretty much flat on our backs instead of on a nice comfy air mattress. So the camping trip also involved a trip to Walmart to purchase a new air mattress. So anyway, so camping was a lot of fun. Before we went camping though, we actually settled on our old house last Friday, which is very exciting. I think I've mentioned before, the house that we're currently in Cochranville, Pennsylvania, we moved here last fall, around Halloween time. But we still had our old house. Our old house is in Mount Joy, Pennsylvania, which is about an hour away, about an hour west of here. Elizabethtown is probably the most well-known town near it. It's the next town over, but Elizabethtown has a college, so some people know that one sometimes. But we were doing some work on our old house before we listed it. We used my dad as our contractor because he's retired. He's actually an educator. He finished his career as a middle school principal, but he's always been really handy, and he likes fixing up houses. He's done several. They're actually about to put an offer in, well, hoping to put an offer in on another house pretty soon. But we had my dad doing things like replacing all the windows since they were original to the 1925 house. A bunch of other little things, get the house just fixed up and nice for listing. So that took a while, because when you hire your dad as your contractor, you go at his pace, whatever pace that happens to be. So we finally got the house listed. I think it was around May. We got an offer within a couple of days. We were working toward closing on that house, or closing on that offer, and then they backed out about 2 weeks before settlement. So unfortunately, we had to put the house back on the market. Again, we got another offer within a couple of days, which was great, and this one worked out. So we settled on Friday. We officially own only one house, which is very exciting because 2 houses is a lot to carry for a long time. So new things on the horizon. Things are great. Good weekend. Anyway, so on to some knitting content. I have a couple of FOs I want to share with you. So first of all, I can't remember if I showed these before. I don't think that I did. But I knit a pair of socks for my son Eric. So this is a pair of socks that I knit from some minis. I believe that they are from Mothy and the Squid. I picked up a mini kit from Mothy and the Squid's Etsy shop a few months ago. So I did the Rose City Rollers Littles pattern. I really like the Rose City Rollers for myself, so I decided I'd use the same pattern for a small one. My son really likes ankle socks too, so I figured they were a good option for him. So I finished those. Little socks are great. They flew off the needles. I also did them 2 at a time, which I've talked about before that I'm not really a fan of. But since I've been doing my Zadie sweater sleeves 2 at a time, it's kind of grown on me, I guess. And these worked really well doing them 2 at a time, especially because I was playing some serious yarn chicken. Like I said, these are from minis, and I put in the contrasting heel, and this is I believe I did an eye of part, no, I think I did a slip stitch heel. Yeah, I just did the slip stitch heel that it calls for, and I did that in a contrasting yarn. So by the time I put that in, I just had to knit the length of his foot, and I probably had 1 round maybe of yarn left when I got to the toes, and fortunately it fit him at that point. So so I was able to break that yarn and put the toes in. So they'll probably fit him for about a month, and then his feet will grow, and then I'll have to knit him some new socks. But he really likes them, so that's exciting. I think my son's going to turn out to be knit worthy after all. He's not quite there. He has a sweater vest that I knit him that he just refuses to wear. Of course, now it's summer, so he would, but when I finished it, he refused to wear it too. But maybe as he's getting older, he'll like things a bit more. He has a bunch of projects that he's asked me to do, so we'll see if he actually wants to wear them when I finish them. My other finished object that I have is a stitching project. I think I showed this as an acquisition last time. It's a Halloween themed stitching project. I got it from Stitches Unlimited, which is in Lancaster. It's a cross stitch needlework embroidery store. And I went there on my last day off, and I picked up this kit. So this is the kit. It's called Candy Corn of Mischief. It's a Bent Creek pattern. I picked up the kit, so it came with it's like a burlap Ada, which I think fits the look really well. It's stitched with pearl cotton thread, which I haven't used before, but it doesn't split, like you don't split that. And I feel like it just went really fast. It's also it's over 2 stitches because of the stitch count on the Ada, which is how I was stitching on linen. So it just seems like the stitches are bigger. I did grid out. You can't see it now because I took them out, but I put in metallic thread grid lines before I started stitching, and that made it really easy to hop around to wherever I wanted in the pattern, which I'd never tried before. So I thought that was really cool. I'll put a link to the tutorial that I used to figure out how to do those grid lines. But it was pretty neat. I'll probably do it again sometime. It takes a while to put them in, so I don't think I'd do it for like a huge project. Although I've seen that some people will put in like just a few grid lines for reference points. So I might do that. But I have not decided what I'm going to do with this. In the picture, it's just framed. So I may do that. I don't know. I really don't know what to do with it. I have finished stitching projects so rarely that I just don't know what to do with them. So if you have a suggestion as to what to do with it, let me know. One thing I did change, I posted a progress picture in one of my crafty Facebook pages. And somebody in the group went out and found the pattern themselves and said after looking at the finished project, she actually liked the look of my in progress. it looks a bit more abstract because the ghosts and the pumpkins have stitched faces on them in the finished kit or the finished pattern. So you'll have like French knots for eyes, and the mouths are stitched on. And she said she liked it without it, and I agree with her. I thought that looked it looked nice without it, a little bit less cartoony, which is fine if that's what you're going for. But I like this. I decided I like this look, so I didn't put those faces on. But yeah, so that's my other finished object. Now, I do have a couple of WIPs that I'm working on this week. I have been inspired by participating in the WTF Knitting and Honeybee Knits podcasts. They're doing a WIPitThursdayKAL knit along, where you take a languishing WIP, something that you haven't worked on for 2 months or more, and you pick it up and you finish it. What they're doing is they're dedicating their Thursday knitting times to working on these WIPs. I'm kind of just fitting it in wherever I can. But I do have a couple of WIPs that I've picked up. So one of them, I'm not going to show this every week, but I have been inspired to pick it up again. So I've made some progress. One of them is my Cozy Memories blanket. Sorry, I've got a wobbly surface today. So my Cozy Memories blanket, it's grown a bit. This green square is new. This big one is new. And I think these 3 are new. The pink, the blue variegated, and the yellow here. So the cool thing that I've added with this, and I stole this from someone else. This is not my idea. I've put in a large square. You'll notice that one there. So this is knit from my Gale's Art sock blank that I finished my socks out of. When I was going to put it into the blanket, I realized that I wasn't gonna get any of the color change with my one square. You can see how much the purple is. That would have taken 1 square, and I wouldn't have gotten to change the colors to all the rest of them. So I think that's focusing. Yeah. So I was on Facebook. Like I said, I'm in a few crafty groups. So I was on Facebook and I saw that somebody had posted a picture of their Cozy Memories blanket, and she had some big squares in it. Not all of them, just 1 or 2 in various sections. I can't remember how much of her blanket she had done, but she had, they were interspersed, which I thought was a great idea, because that meant that on these types of squares where you've got a color change, you can show off the whole transition. You can show that off better. So I'm planning to do that whenever I run into that. This one here, this small one, I lucked out in that the colors changed enough that I could get them all in the little square. But if I ever have any other yarns like that, this one here too, like I barely got a little corner of the blue, but if I'd made this bigger, I could have gotten more stripes in. So I'm definitely going to be doing that from now on. I'm going to, when I see a yarn that I know is going to benefit from a larger square, that I'm going to get more of a transition in, I'm going to be able to show off more of the color changes, then I'm going to put in a big square. So I'll have to plan exactly where they land, because I want it to, I don't know, it's a patch blanket. I guess they could really land anywhere, but we'll see. We'll see as I put more of them in. But yeah, so I've picked that up again. I'm making more progress, sticking minis in, finding my leftover yarns. I think I've mentioned before, I'm actually doing any weight. I just change my stitch count and my needle sizes. So this one's a bulky. I've got a bunch of other weights waiting to go in. So I'm putting some good work in on that. But the thing that has had most of my attention so far is my worsted Boxy. So I cast this on probably in March or April. And I made some good progress on the body, and then I just didn't really touch it for a long time. basically since the end of April, I think. That's the last time I see a post on Instagram that I put up. So I decided I'm gonna finish this sweater. So let me show you. Now, this is a hard sweater to show because it's very big. The boxy shape is, there's just a lot of fabric to it. And the point that I've hit, I've got a lot of stitches on hold. So let me show you. Okay, so this lump of fabric here. This is where I was, this orange stitch marker here, which I got from, oh my goodness, I've forgotten her name. Steel City Stitcher. I knew that. It came on one of my project bags. I love her project bags. I've probably talked about them a bunch. They are really sturdy. They're a great size. They've got pockets, and they always come with, well, the zippered ones always come with a charm. Zipper pull, progress keeper, what have you. And she always coordinates it. So she's got really cute ones. So this one came with a fruit bag. But that is marking where I was when I picked it up for this knit along. Since then, you can still see, I have knit, let's see, there's the progress keeper, right there. I have knit the front of the sweater. I've done the neckline shaping, and I've got the shoulder stitches. Woo! Hopefully I don't lose them. I've got the shoulder stitches on hold. So these are ready to be grafted as soon as the back is done. And then I'm working on the back. I've got a couple more inches of stockinette to go, and then I'll start doing the texture that's in the shoulders, and then I've got sleeves to cast on. And then that's it, which sounds like a lot, but I think I'm actually going to be focusing my attention on this the rest of today. I'm not cleaning my house at all, though I should be. But I'm hoping to get this done. There is also the neckline to add, and then it's got to be blocked. But otherwise, I think I'm going to get the majority of the knitting done on this today. So I'm really excited about that. So that, all right, out of frame. So that is my worsted boxy. I should be done with it quickly, so I should have it as an FO next time. I really hope I do. If I don't, it means today went horribly wrong. Okay, so those are my two languishing whips that I've picked up again. I'm putting a little bit of work in on my Zadie sweater. I'm still working on the sleeves there. I haven't really touched my childhood memories shawl. It's my mindless knitting right now because it's got the first 2 rows have a bit of a pattern that you have to remember to do, but it's a 6-row repeat, so I don't know. It's pretty mindless. But all of my time has been spent on my languishing whips at the moment. So I haven't put much work in on those, but they're, you know, they're coming along. They'll be once I finish my worsted boxy, then I'll focus on those again. So that's it for whips and finished objects. I do have a couple of acquisitions. I am on a yarn diet though. I remind myself daily because I scroll through Instagram and look at Etsy and remind myself that I'm on a yarn diet. Of course, I've broken the yarn diet several times. I got a kit from Craftsy for a holiday wreath a little bit ago, so that was a break in the yarn diet. I also picked up, while I was at Walmart picking up the air mattress that I needed to replace, they had some mandala cakes, which I've never used before, but every time they're in stock, people seem to get really excited. So, so I figured while I saw them, I'd pick one up. So I picked this up. I really don't know what I'm going to use it for. I figured a $5 skein of yarn, though, is a good way to cheat on your yarn diet. I didn't cave and buy like a $30 indie dyed skein. So, so it's just a little bit of cheating. It hardly counts. I picked up an advent calendar for myself for this year. I knew I wanted one. I didn't want to fight over some of the more popular ones. I didn't want to have to jump on an Etsy update and you know, risk getting cart jacked and all of that to try and get certain dyers. So I looked on Etsy to see who had some available now and in stock and no fighting over it. So I did find one. Actually, she is a new indie dyer to me. She has a podcast as well, so I'll talk about her in Podcaster Love. But I did pick up an advent calendar. Otherwise, my purchases have been non-yarny and in the past. I haven't picked up anything new in the last week or so. Most of these I had already had by the time I podcasted last. I'd just forgotten about them. Because you really, I mean, the yarny purchases are easier to remember. So it's the non-yarny ones that I'd be like, oh, right, I forgot I got that. So anyway, one thing that I picked up is some stitch markers from the Sexy Knitter, which is Sarah from Kansas City on Etsy. She has an Etsy shop. She does knitting tools, stitch markers, yarn patterns. She has a bunch of stuff. So I picked up some stitch markers. They come in this really cute glass vial. It is a set of 5. I've only got 3 in here, but there were 5. 2 others are floating around. They are origami stars. So they're folded paper. And they're really sturdy. But they are there. I picked them up with a lobster claw because I like Progress Keepers, but she also does a enclosed circle to do a stitch marker. So those are from the Sexy Knitter. Let's see. I also picked up when I was in Rehoboth. I picked up a couple of books from Kitschy Stitch. The first one is really cute. It's called The Secret Lives of Letters. So this is, it's a book that has a pattern for all 26 letters. And then it gives them like faces and characters and personalities. So this is Ursula. Her profession is a urologist. Her interests are unicorns, umpiring, and unicycles. Her favorite foods are upside down cake, ugly fruit, and unbaked cookie dough. And her personality is unpretentious, upbeat, and unique. So it's a really cute book. I thought that would be fun to pick up, do some letters for my kids here and there. I thought they'd be fun gifts too, like a baby gift. If you've got, if you know a name, then you can do the first letter of their name and give it that as a gift. Anyway, so I thought that'd be a lot of fun. So I picked that up. And then I also picked up Elizabeth Zimmerman's Knitting Almanac. So I only have one other Elizabeth Zimmerman book. I have the Opinionated Knitter, which is what I knit my garter stitch blanket out of. So this is just, I thought it would be a fun book to pick up. I've read through it a little bit. It's entertaining. The patterns are pretty neat. So yeah, so that was another purchase. I also picked up Bookwise. Sorry, I'm going to drop these. Don't have enough room on my little table. I also picked up the anniversary editions of Pom Pom Quarterly. They re-released their first edition. And then they have a special 21st edition for their 5-year anniversary, which I'm trying to get the band off of. So obviously I haven't read it yet since the band is still on it, but I do have them. So there's the 21st edition. So I picked those up. Looking forward to perusing those in some spare time. I also picked up, let's see, books. Oh, I also picked up a project bag. This one's kind of a fun purchase. So this is a project bag from A Beautiful Mess Yarnworks, which is my friend Jamie's company. She doesn't actually make project bags anymore. So this popped up in a D-stash. and I nabbed it, and I thought that would be kind of fun to own. So this is currently holding my my thread for the cross stitch project that I'm doing, the year-long stitch along, Fabulous Women in History. So I've got that one. Just two more. I am going to Knitter's Day Out this year, which is in the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area. They have a bunch of classes that were offered. I didn't find anything that was too appealing to me knitting wise. So I decided to sign up for a support spinning class. I have not ventured into spinning at all. I played with the idea of taking a class probably like four years ago or so, and just never found the time to do it. So I haven't done anything with spinning. So in taking this class, one of the things that you need to do is get some materials, which includes a support spindle. So I picked this one up. It probably won't focus, but it's a spindle. It's made out of wood. It's very simple. It also comes with a support bowl. So this is what you spin in. And I got this from Walnut Farm Designs, which is Anita in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. She actually sells whole kits where you can buy the spindle with the bowl and some fiber. But I knew if I had fiber, I was going to start playing around with it. I am avoiding YouTube tutorials very hard. I have already looked at a couple just to see what it actually looks like. But I'm not trying it out. I'm not trying it until I actually take the class that I've paid for and registered for, which is going to be in October. So this is just sitting here looking pretty until I actually get to use it with my class. My last purchase that I picked up is a tote. It was something that popped up from one of my crafty Facebook groups. She was starting an Etsy shop, advertising it. I wanted to be supportive. So it's Crafting Past Bedtime on Etsy. She is Jenny in Oxbow, Canada. She does totes, mugs, and some chunky knit items. But this is the yarn bag or tote. So it says keep calm and carry yarn. It's a really great tote. It's very sturdy. It's got some great pockets on the inside too here. So I think this is going to be great for, festival shopping, Knitter's Day Out purchases. It's not big enough to carry a bunch of project bags, at least the types of projects that I've been doing lately. So I think this is more of a shopping bag for me. Although it's got really great pockets. It's got pockets on the outside too, which I just noticed. Anyway, it's a really cute bag. I really like that. So that is it for acquisitions. Let me move on to some podcaster love. So I finally caught up with Amy's podcast. The Stranded Dye Works is her yarn company. Stranded Podcast is her podcast. So Amy Florence on Ravelry. I just caught up to her last episode. She was just at SSK, so now she's posting, I think she's got a haul that she just posted today that I haven't watched yet, but everything else I've watched. So that was a lot of fun to catch up with her. I really enjoy her podcast. I really love her personality. I really love her yarn, but I'm on a yarn diet, so I haven't bought any yet. Someday I will though. But yeah, so Amy I've caught up on. I started watching Hugh Loco with Nicole. She's also an indie dyer. I started at the beginning, so I'm only a couple of episodes in and a couple of years back. So I started watching her. WTF Knitting with Levi. I've been watching all of his episodes. He's got the WIPitThursdayKAL going on. So, he's the one who inspired me to work on my languishing whips. Honeybee Knits, I haven't started watching yet, but he's hosting the KAL with. So I'm hoping to start watching her episodes soon. I've just got a lot on my list that I'm starting to watch, so I just got to get to all of them. I've also started watching Knitter's Gotta Knit podcast, which is a new one. It's with Carrie and Darlene, and Darlene is the Awesome Grannies bags, the maker behind Awesome Grannies bags. Awesome Granny bags. Anyway, bag maker. They're really great bags. I've seen them pop up on other podcasts. So they're a lot of fun. They just started. I think they have either 2 or 3 episodes out now. So they'll have new ones coming. So I get to watch those from the beginning. It's very exciting. The new podcast that I found from finding the Advent calendar is Adelaide Cottage, which is Shauna in New York. She's near Buffalo. When she started her podcast, she was talking about how much snow there was, so I'm sure it was winter sometime. And as soon as I heard her say that she was near Buffalo, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense, because on the East Coast, winter's coming when you hear that Buffalo got piles and piles of snow. So Shauna, she's, like I said, she's an indie dyer, so she has an Etsy shop. So I'll post that here below. And she's listed her Advent calendars if you're in the market for one. And then the last podcast that I picked up just in the last couple of days is the Naughty Knitwits. I know they've been around for a while. A lot of people have watched them, but I just started watching. I think I'm 2 episodes in. But they're who I'm going to be watching most of today while I finish working on my worsted Boxy. So those are my podcasts that I'm watching currently. If you have one, let me know, comment, and let me know so I can check it out. If you have one that you love, then let me know too so I can check them out. Okay, last things, 2 things. I have decided to step up my podcasting game. I've got, a little bit over 30 subscribers, which is exciting. Some people are viewing the videos. That's great. So I'm gonna try and do some things to put myself out there a little bit more, spread the word a little bit, and get a bigger following. So the first thing I did is I did start a Ravelry group. So it's called the Just One N podcast group. You can search in Ravelry and find it. I've only got a couple of threads right now. I've got an introduction thread, and I've got a local goings on thread, so that if you're local to the Lancaster, Harrisburg, Chester County, that kind of southeastern Pennsylvania area, you can post about anything that might be going on fiber related, be it knit nights, festivals, anything trunk shows, anything that might be going on. You can post there, because I found that I'm in a little bit of a yarn desert. My closest local yarn store is half an hour away. My favorite local yarn store is an hour away. So, and there's not a ton of knit nights real close by. I'm considering starting my own. I've just got to find time on the calendar to do it, and I've got to find the motivation to clean my house so that people could come over. But anyway, so that's what's on the Ravelry group right now. Eventually, someday we'll probably do some knit-alongs. I'll probably open an Ask Me Anything thread. I'm not sure anybody's interested to ask me anything yet, so I don't want it to just sit there and be empty. But so the Ravelry group, I just started it last night, so it'll be more active coming up. And then the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to host a Instagram giveaway. Just gather more of a following, spread the word about my podcast, and, give away some yarn. So, so I went stash diving. I found a beautiful skein of yarn that I have. It's Malabrigo sock. This is in the Diana colorway. I've got fall on the brain because of my Halloween stitching project that I just finished. And this is a beautiful fall colorway. It's got some great oranges and greens, some really pretty deep tones. So I'm going to be giving away this skein of yarn on Instagram. By the time this episode is up, then I'll have posted about the contest. I'll host it through the end of the week. You'll have to like the picture, follow me on Instagram, and then tag a friend. Your pretty typical Instagram giveaway. And then I'll give bonus points for anybody who comes to this episode and just puts a comment. I mean, you could just commented or followed or or whatever. Go ahead and subscribe too. That'd be great to subscribe to the podcast. I don't really have a way of tracking that unless you've kept your account public to say whether you've subscribed or not. But I will. I'll include comments for entries. So yeah. So that's what I'm gonna do for my Instagram giveaway. And I think that's it this week. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, spread the word. There is a fly buzzing around my head. Oh, I hate flies so much.